Hello, welcome back to The Good, the Bad and the Stupid. It's Monday the 30th of September. Hope you've enjoyed the weekend. Lovely wet weather we've been having. It's been relentless for the last 7 days. If you're anything like me, it's made me be very adventurous with my time to figure out what to do whilst it's bloody peeing down a rain. So I've done lots of chores. I've been counting the penny jar. I've been phoning bloody insurance claims for smashed parcels. I've been very proactive, but it's none of the stuff that I really want to do. It's quite surprising really how boring counting money is as well. Counting the penny jar, Jesus. I've only got as far as the 20p's and the 10p's, the 5p's and the 1s and the 2p's. I'm just going to pour them in the machine down at the Tesco's because I can't bring myself to go to count them. I've spent hours counting the ones that I had, and I still didn't amount to much. That was because of that bloody parcel that got smashed over the weekend, and I lost £150 because they've told me that they're not going to cover the insurance, because when you take out your parcels and you don't read the insurance properly, you realise that they cover about 1 in 100 things that you pay to insure. So the list is as long as a scroll that you would get from medieval scroll. Imagine like rolling out a medieval scroll, and there's a list of all the things that they won't insure or don't insure that you're totally unaware of when you take the insurance out. And even if you did take the insurance out, to read through that list and spot your item, you know, until you actually come to get it smashed to smithereens like mine has, then that's the first you're going to find out about it. And yeah, so 150 quid down the bloody drain. But anyway, there you go. That's my Hermes for you, named and shamed. So yeah, it's been wet weather. I think the most proactive thing I've done this weekend is buy some socks. I managed, and that was only because I ran in to get away from the rain. I ran in the doorway and I thought, aye, this place sells socks. I'll make myself useful for the next 10 minutes or so. I've bought a new microphone for these videos, but I've been fiddling about with it for the past 15 minutes or so, and I can't, well, longer than that actually, but I can't get it to work, so I've had to resort back to this until hopefully I fix it tomorrow. So hopefully the sound will get a bit better, and you can hear my sultry tones a little bit louder. Well, maybe that could make a few people switch off, in fact. Anyway, Storm Lorenzo is coming, so we're not out of the woods yet. 7 days straight we've had wet weather, and it's going to be coming even more this week, Storm Lorenzo. And I've just found out that I'm flying on Thursday. I thought it was next week. I'm actually going away on Thursday to Budapest, and I'm flying, and that's when the storm's meant to hit the hardest, so it looks like I'll be taking off in a fucking hurricane. So I ain't too happy about that, I can tell you. So so there probably won't be a podcast Thursday and Friday unless I do something from where I'm abroad, but I'm meant to be enjoying myself, so let's hope the weather's better over there. Anyway, let's move on to the news. That's what we're here for. And oh, what's the first bit of the news I pulled out? Storm Lorenzo. It's a good name. It's about time they give a storm a decent name, or at least the last storm that I remember that we had was Storm Brian. Remember that one? Storm Brian. It's like the most boring of all the storms, if you're going to call a storm that. I don't know where they get the names from, but this one's called Lorenzo. It's a little bit more exotic, I imagine. So maybe it's come over from where's it coming from? I think it's coming from Europe. Is it coming from Europe? I don't know. I should have read it. It's coming from somewhere anyway, and it's coming to make us all wet and windy. Did you see that bike? There was a bike race on yesterday. The World Championship bike race. They were soaking, and they battled on. And I think the one guy, he couldn't even speak. But at the end, I was trying to interview him, and he couldn't even get his words out. He'd been riding for 7 hours. Through the rain and the cold and the wind and whatever. So that was pretty. I don't really like watching bike racing that much, but that was like good to see. You know, actually, you're anticipating somebody flying off the bike because they're bombing it around the corners and everything. But I didn't see any kind of serious accidents or anything. So yeah, it was quite good to watch actually. You know, sitting inside in the car in the dry and seeing them sort of battling it out in the wet weather. Yeah, it was like it was no, what's it called, Tour de France, but it was like it was interesting. It was the Tour de soaking wet. Anyway, but let's move on to Boris Johnson has been accused of grabbing some woman's thigh. I mean, you wonder whether she say he's come out and said this is fucking untrue. Like, he's obviously getting wound up by it, but he's got people on both sides of his party. Some people backing him, and some people thinking he probably is that way. So, but one of his defenders, who's actually been sacked by him, so she doesn't have to defend him, has said that. He's not that way. He's occasionally like a Frank Spencer in a china shop, but I believe he cares a great deal about women and girls. Well, you know, he's not short of a lady or two. He's changed hands a few times over the past year or two, hasn't he? And then now they're talking about this American businesswoman that he's been giving dodgy deals to and stuff like that. So. Unfortunately, when you're up there in those, you can't get away from anything. You can't do anything privately because it's all going to come back and used as evidence against you. So unless you're Mr. Squeaky Clean, and you can, or you've got a good like Prince Andrew's team who goes around sweeping up behind you and like making sure there's nothing or people disappear rather than tell any bad stories about you. I'm not saying that's the case, but I'm saying that it's very hard to keep anything secret these days, especially up there. Okay, Nigels. Anybody know any Nigels? No, you probably didn't see any Nigels over the weekend because they were all in one place. 432 Nigels all turned up at a boozer. A pub landlord, I've spoken about this a few weeks ago. I know he put out a call to all Nigels to meet up and have a drink together because he said the name is dying out, and he said that no Nigels were recorded on the name register because it's a name that people aren't going for now because people are getting all fancy with their names, or they're going back to the old school names like my granddad's name, Alfie, and things like that because of the Peaky Blinders and stuff. So all the Nigels all met, and they actually, obviously the word got out because people were flying in from America, Nigels from America and everything. So it was a big Nigel bash, and they was raising money and stuff like that. So that would have been quite fun. Whose round is it? Yeah, that would have been the joke of the night. Whose round is it? It's Nigel's round. Which Nigel? Oh, fucking hell. That would have been going on. So it probably wore a bit thin by the end of the night, didn't it? So all the Nigel jokes. What is it? James Cracknell has been outed in well, he's not been outed. He got kicked off the dance program, didn't he? That Strictly Dancing or whatever. He was the first one off, and he's a real competitive ex-gold medal winner. Championship. He does lots of what's it called, endurance races and stuff like that, doesn't he? And like, it must have. I can imagine it did piss him right off to get booted off first, but I don't think he said he was given a good crack at the whip or whatever. But somebody was saying that he was like storming around backstage, going, "I shouldn't have done it. I shouldn't have done this show. They've made me look stupid," which is what they do. On these programs, they do fucking make you look stupid. But he said Ben Fogle, his mate, he's also Adventurer Buddy, has come out and said that it's bullshit what somebody said. So don't believe everything you read. It's bullshit that he was storming around saying that getting all sour grapes and whatever. He said he got booted off with dignity. He was booted off with dignity and decorum or whatever. So I don't know who to believe there, but still, I can imagine him being competitive, and I would be pissed off, especially if you haven't been, he reckons they were, or somebody said he reckons they were favouriting another person who was shit, so they managed to stay in the shit person. I don't know, I don't watch it, but I'm reading it for your benefit. I fucking hate that programme. So anyway, what's it called? Snooker bad boy Mark Williams shocked former professional Stephen Hendry by showing him a tattoo of a one-fingered salute that he's got on his arse. I'm looking at it here, and it's one of the worst tattoos I've ever seen. So if you're listening to this, Mark, I think you want to think about getting something covered that up, or getting another, or fucking getting it removed. It's like a massive hand like that on his arse. Who's that for? Well, obviously it's for Stephen Hendry, but who else is it for? When he's taking his pulling his trousers down, or is he like? Is it for every time he loses, he does that to his opponent or something or other? Terrible choice. That's like I know people have some some bad tattoos every now and then, but that one's one of the worst. Like having that on your arse. Anyway, who am I to say that? I've got shit tattoos. Don't worry about that. Passengers on a luxury cruise had to sleep rough in freezing conditions after being left stranded ashore. That's the way shit always goes wrong on a cruise ship, doesn't it? And when it does, usually it's the shits. Usually it's everybody. One person comes on with a stomach bug, and everybody gets it. But these people have been left on the shore because they were off sightseeing around one of the towns, and the boats couldn't take them back to the cruise ship because it was too choppy. So how is this the first time this has happened? I've never seen this happen before, but usually it's the illness is going around, isn't it? Or choppy while you're on the boat, but not like nobody can go back to the boat. So they all had to sleep in a sports hall, and they got all like camp beds, and some people sleeping on ping pong tables and all that. You can imagine the kind of people who are on cruise ships as well. It's a lot of old folks, isn't it? So they wouldn't be too happy about sleeping on bloody ping pong tables. So and they're not cheap. If they spent a few grand to do it, I'd imagine there's going to be a few calls for some compensation there if I was them. But anyway, shit happens, isn't it? If you've got to be safe, you've got to be safe. But it's just not. I've been in a situation like that in Egypt when the plane. Well, we caught the plane, and then the plane didn't take off. The plane EasyJet owed money to Egypt for fuel, and they wouldn't let the planes go until they paid for the fuel. So we were stuck on the tarmac. A 5-hour flight it was meant to be, and we were stuck on the tarmac for 5 hours. And then we didn't take off. We had to go back into Egypt, because once you checked out to the plane, you've kind of checked out of the country. So they wouldn't let us off the plane, and after 5 hours they did. And we were stuck overnight and whatever else, and had to do it all again the next day. So that was a real pisser. So it's a long when the day's happening, it's a long day. I mean, that's just like, you're reading the paper and going, oh right, okay, well they'll be back to it, but it's a long day when nobody knows what the hell's going on. So anyway, they're all wealthy, they're on a cruise ship, they were back to it the next day, so I'm sure they picked up where they left off. Speaking of this couple, turned up to their £740 a night holiday apartment in Ibiza, and found out that the apartment wasn't even real. So they've paid 9,610 quid through Airbnb, and they didn't even get the apartment when it was there. £740 a night, fucking that's a holiday. That's the cost of a holiday, though, isn't it, for most people? So, 9. Why would you spend £740 a night on a fucking on a room? More money than sense, but they've paid £9,000 anyway through Airbnb, and somebody's done one with the money. So watch out for that scam. You know what I mean? I'd be like a bear with a sore head if I lost 740 quid for the holiday, for one £740, let alone how many days was it? I don't know, 14 days worth. Anyway, shame, but the scammers are out there. You've got to be careful. There's you book holidays now. You've got to do it for your credit card, haven't you? Otherwise, you're not covered. Like if they've done it for the credit card, they're covered. So the only pisser is they're there. So they'll have to wait, won't they? And pay again somewhere else. Male soldiers will be allowed to wear makeup as long as it is camouflage colour. The Defence Secretary says that's just ridiculous. That's just basically camouflage makeup. It's just camouflage stuff. Anyway, what you do in battle. Why would you walk around wearing that? Ben Wallace dismissed the bid to bring rules into line with those for female soldiers. But you wouldn't go around wearing pink lipstick or red lipstick on the battlefield anyway, would you? Because you know, if everything's all camouflage and then you've got bright red lips, you know, we're going to blow kisses at the opposition. I'm not saying you might not even be gay, but I'm just or what's the word? Well, there's so many different sexualities now. You might just like to wear makeup and just be male and enjoy wearing makeup. So it doesn't have to be anything sexual. But if you're wearing bright red lipstick, you know, that would wind the enemy up anyway, especially in some of these homophobic countries or countries where they wouldn't get that kind of thing. So knock yourself out, but you're not allowed to anyway. You've got to wear camouflage makeup. So is there any such thing as camouflage lipstick? Bright, that's not dark green, isn't it? Not very attractive anyway, so I'd give it a miss if I was you. What's the next thing? Oh yeah, Rio Ferdinand's back to holidays again. I've done the wrong way around there. I meant to go on with the holiday stuff. Rio Ferdinand has had his wedding in a hotel in Turkey. This place, £4,000 a night, and it's busy. So and that's in Turkey, so that's like worth an £8,000 in most places because Turkey's quite cheap, isn't it? So £4,000 a night, and he's basically had his wedding there, and then had like a load of hired out half the hotel and had a rave up and was blasting out rap music loud as anything, and all the other guests were complaining and if you're a £4,000 a night guest, you're going to be pissed off of being disturbed in any way. I want gold star treatment for that, you know. I want the best experience of your life for £4,000 a night, don't you? But instead you've got Rio Ferdinand's party of chavs apparently making noise and fucking screaming the place down and blasting out rap music. So they turned the £4,000 a night hotel into a cheesy chav holiday from hell. But they was having their their wedding, his wedding there, and they've sold the wedding to. I don't get it. Why these people who have the weddings and they sell their wedding to the OK magazine, Hello magazine. I know it's money. I get it if you need money and you're going to sell your thing to the wedding, but it's a private thing, isn't it? The wedding and stuff. But these people who are rich, wealthy anyway, got more money than anybody will ever have, still want that extra £1 million off like having photographers all around your fucking wedding and sticking it all out for everybody to under the microscope for everybody to go through. I don't get it. You know, fucking it is chavvy and cheesy to stick your wedding in the OK magazine, if you ask me. If you're rich, but if you're poor, stick your wedding in, you know, if that's the way to make money, yeah, but if you're rich, you don't need to do it, do you? So, anyway, my opinion. I'm sure he's not going to be listening to me anyway. Another bad decision here is another bad tattoo. I've got these all in the wrong order, haven't I? But there's another tattoo here. This has got to be worse. I thought that finger was the worst tattoo. No, this one's been topped by this guy, Aaron Carter. Not sure who he is, but he's got a tattoo done on the side of his face of Rihanna. It's a picture off a magazine of Rihanna with her hair looking like snakes off the British GQ magazine of 2013, and he's had that tattooed on the side of his face. I wouldn't be too happy if I was her having that. If I was to her, I'd be saying, get my face off your face. I don't want my face on your face. I don't want my face associated with your face. It's a horrible, ugly tattoo. So what he was thinking there, unless it's drawn on, but he's and he said, I'm the biggest thing in music right now. I can't be denied. Well, you're missing a word out there. You're the biggest thing in music right now, and that can't be denied. So anyway, good luck with that, mate. You're soon going to be fucking wondering why you did that. Probably a few Jaeger bombs too many or something or other. Right, finish up on a few more little things here. A boss banned jokey leaving cards, which read, "Congratulations on getting out of this shithole." This is the London Underground, so staff at the London Underground department signed the £2.49 cards for 4 colleagues who were made redundant, and they basically said, well done for getting out of this shithole. There you go, that's truth coming. Speak the truth. Many a true word said in jest, but the bosses refused to get the cards out and made them give out photocopied best wishes instead. That's a bit bar humbug. They're only joking, and it is a shithole, so what are you going to do? The perfect family TV show would have 10 gags per episode, a lovable animal, and 3 plot twists, according to a poll for the makers of Scooby-Doo. There's a random one for you. So the perfect family TV show would have 10 gags per episode. Who's counting? That's just ridiculous. Just make it funny if it's a comedy. Obviously, you can't have 10 gags if it's the Hulk. I always remember I actually do remember the Hulk. Remember you got the 80s version of the Hulk. He always used to get changed, or he'd changed twice every episode. I always remember that because I always wanted him to change more because that was my favourite programme. But yeah, it always changed twice, so you knew there was one near the beginning and one a bit later on. He'd just come along, kick the shit out of everything, and then at the end he'd walk off with his bag onto his next place because he's just destroyed everything behind him. But it was a great programme. Not too keen on the modern versions, but that one was wicked. So yeah, there you go. But otherwise, the Fonz, that's another the perfect TV show. The Fonz is it's a shame he's not around anymore, but that was a cool programme. You can't get fucking cooler than the Fonzarelli. A chef has received, right, 2 more. Let's do these last one. Men in Hull have the biggest feet in Britain. How do we know this? While guys from Oxford have the smallest. A survey by Shoe Zone revealed. Shoe Zone, that's how we know. Shoe Zone have counted. So a lot of clowns up in, what's it called? In Hull, I guess, if they're ordering all the extra large sizes. I've got nothing more to say on that, really. We're about in the Midlands. Where are we? I'm a size 8, so I actually do know someone who's a size 13. They're weird size feet. That's just ridiculous. A chef received... I've got 2 more to do somewhere. Okay, another shoe shop in New Zealand. A pornographic video was played on the screen by hackers who left it playing for 2 hours on the screen. And nobody noticed it. The staff didn't notice it, and all the customers were watching it. So while you buying yourself some new shoes and trying them on or whatever, pornos are playing on the TV screen or whatever. So some people enjoy that. The people who were there with their kids didn't necessarily enjoy it. I think they've let that be known as well. But I'd imagine that there was a few other large objects in that shop other than the feet as that was going on. Yeah, why they did that. That must have been a disgruntled staff member who's like been sacked or something or other, and he's getting his own back on that shithole. So there you go. That's an employee scorned. Right, last thing, I'm going to do this one, is a chef received a benefits letter telling him he was dead with a universal credit refund of £360. So fucking hell, that's all these problems with universal credit and everybody being skint and not getting the money that they need. Go and die, and that's when you get your money. How does that make any fucking sense? So he's died, and then he's been given £360. Does that make any sense to anybody? There's people who like are getting like are surviving on £2 a week and shit like that, and this guy has been given money. Luckily, he's alive, so he can spend the 360 quid. But he's not meant to be. He's only meant to get it because he's dead. Fuck knows. It's a crazy old world. Anyway, I think I'm going to leave it there. So hopefully you've enjoyed it, and I'm going to do another one tomorrow. I'm going to be messing with my microphone. You never know. You might be able to hear me next time. Okay, see you later. Bye-bye.